What's going on, guys? It's Tactical Trash Panda. Once again, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for joining us for our first episode of the year. This is Ep.7 of Talking Trash with Panda. I hope everybody had a great and safe holiday transition between Christmas, New Year, and we all have a fresh start now. So, that being said, let's shout out some of our viewers tonight. I see Savetti up in here. Thanks for joining, brother. I see you as the first comment, but I also saw Farmer James in here earlier. Marconi, always showing love. I appreciate you, brother. We got Bruce Johnson. Thank you for coming in tonight. We have the one and only Carbon Q. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's see who else is new in here. Benchies go boom. Happy birthday, man. We have Croak in the house. We have Michael Ryan. Thank you for joining us. Thin Line Defense Company, always showing the support. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Anybody else? We have Jay Gonzo. Thank you for coming in. We have Easy EDP. Thank you for joining, brother. Always showing love. We have 3D Media Research Group. What's going on, brother? If you guys don't know who that is, it's our boy, Ralph. Go subscribe to him. Show him some love. You have J-Dub in the tub. Thank you for coming in, brother. We have Chicago Mike the Shooter. Thank you for joining us. We have Prepper Book Club. Thank you for coming in here. Right now, that's all I see in the chat. I know we'll get some more. I know we have a new time right now. Maybe most people didn't see a post this week. So we did change from 9 o'clock to 8:30 because we're trying to help our brother out, Ralph. We don't want to coincide our schedule, so we moved ours a little bit earlier so you guys can view his channel too. He does have the show. He has their roast right after our show, so go check him out afterwards. Misty, Mrs. Wayne, thank you for joining. Man Against the Masses, thank you for coming. I think that's a first time viewer that I'm seeing. So thank you for coming to the channel and supporting us. We have, I think I mentioned, Michael Ryan. So that being said, I also want to give our show sponsor some love, New Print Custom Firearms. Guys, if you haven't checked out New Print Custom Firearms yet, go show them some love. You can find their info in the description below. You can find them on IG and Facebook. They do beautiful, beautiful work. Just hit them up, let them know what you want, and they'll get it done for you. So, that being said, I want to bring in my co-host, the one and only Angry Sarge.
The angry
How's
guys
it going, Angry
here.
Sarge?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to see you guys in the chat blowing it up. I mean, I know we don't have a lot of people here tonight, but you know what? I don't care. I'm excited to see just who's coming and who's commenting. So you guys, appreciate you as always, and hopefully we got a show that you guys will enjoy, and it's time to kick back and relax, right? Time to show somebody that, I'll be honest with you, I do know him, but we'll see how this goes. So this will be fun. But it's good to see you, Panda. I'm glad to be here, man. Yeah,
it's definitely good to see you too, brother. I'm happy to have our first show of the year. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So do you want to do the honors of introducing our guest?
I mean, I can bring him on. All right, let's bring him in. It's Rogue Ranch. So,
what's up, everybody?
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Rogue Ranch. I'm happy to
This
have
is
you in here.
this is different, okay? You see two masked men and you're like, what is going on here? What is the deal? So now everything's cool. Everything's cool. Just hang with us. We'll get to what we're talking about. But it's good to see everybody. Thanks for commenting. Ralph, I seen you. Chase, thank you for coming second time. I'll take that all day long. So hopefully we'll have you a third time and however many times after that. So Carbon Q, thanks for coming. We always love seeing you. So to our guest, thank you for taking the time to show up here too. I know what you do. You get a little busy. You don't
I
have
do.
very much time, and um, we're taking you away from your family of some sort. So thank you for being here tonight with us.
Anytime.
So
Can't believe you didn't want to bring me in.
What? Bring you on the show? You want to be on the show? Is that what you want?
Yeah,
Can you commit to that? That's the real question.
I
Can you
could.
commit to that?
Of course.
hey, so
Anything for you.
with
Walsh. You
so
gotta
you
love
guys.
Walsh.
Oh yeah, you got to. Not Jason though, huh? Not Jason has nothing on that badass 3D printed mask of yours, Sarge.
Well, I appreciate that. And Xeon's killed it. I think we're actually looking at some other stuff too. Maybe something that can hook to a helmet. Maybe
That'd be
something. I don't
awesome.
know. We'll see. We'll
That'd be
see what
awesome.
happens. Yeah, that'd be
So
cool, man.
I'm sure our viewers are wondering who our guest is. So
Yeah,
let's
let's
pop
get to
into the
it.
questions.
Let's figure
Let's get
this
this
guy
started.
out with a mask covering his face.
So Rogue Ranch, what is your background? Can you tell us a little
I
bit
have
about
a
yourself?
I have a military background. I was a mechanic. I served with Sarge in the military, so he and I go way back.
Way back.
Way back. It was a rough background, serving in Iraq and being a mechanic, but also being in QRF and working with him out there in the ditches and in the trenches. And I got out of the military and not so healthy, damaged goods, if you will. Got myself back up and then got into law enforcement.
Nice.
So that's where I'm at now.
So do you think what do you think was a contributing factor for you joining law enforcement? Was it something that you seen that I was doing, so you're like, well, I'll jump in on it? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
No, well, when we were in the military, I think we both threw the opportunity out there as getting in law enforcement. Saw you doing it. But it was a good transition from where we were at in the military to doing something that actually fits what we were already doing. Right. So that's kind of where I went with that direction.
I definitely get it. I mean, at one point, I pretty much had you looked at by my agency. I think we were close to hiring, right?
Twice.
During that time?
Twice.
So, which, good thing that didn't happen because that first agency was not that desirable. We'll just say that. So, that's like the best way I could put it.
Good.
Yeah. Well, you're doing good, man. It's been really cool to see you grow, and I know not a lot of people know you and all that stuff like I do, but I mean we have been friends and battle buddies or whatever you want to call us for a long time. So
at one point we were actually family.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So Rogue Ranch. So how long have you been in law enforcement now?
Coming up on 14 years.
Wow.
So it's been a minute.
Okay.
It's coming up close to that retirement time.
Yeah, you pretty much started behind me, but I've got like some dead time that unfortunately hurt me, but that's good, man. It's good to see you still pushing on it, and hopefully you'll make it to retirement and you won't have any more issues. That's the key. That's always the goal, right?
That's always the goal. Get to that retirement.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I can only imagine it's not an easy job. It has
There's
to be
easy
tough.
parts about it, but there's also hard parts about it.
Yeah.
It's a mindset sometimes.
Yeah.
I do not.
David, what?
I do not.
That's gonna prove the song. I do not know about that song either. So 14. Wow, that's a long time. But what do you enjoy most about? What did you enjoy most about the military? And
I would say the thing that I enjoyed most about the military was the camaraderie. You know, Sarge and I built an awesome relationship, a friendship. And, you know, I still call us family. We're brothers.
Yeah.
Just that bond that you create when you're in the military, because that person next to you, that's your life. That's who's going to get you through the fight. So, and he did. Literally, he got me through the fight. He saved my life. So that's the bond you get.
Yeah. No, I mean, besides that, like, think about when we first met. I mean, we don't have to go into everything, but like all the shenanigans as a young enlisted soldier that we were doing, you know, of course we were single, living in the barracks and all that stuff, you know, it just, everything that we went through kind of forged our relationship prior to deployment. And then because when I came to Fort Hood, I knew nobody. I was just like brand new in a unit, and they were just like, "Oh, well, you're here."
We met each other in the hallway at the barracks.
Yeah.
So
and I think
that's where the friendships were. That's where the friendships were born. It's in the hallway at the barracks.
So, kind of like high school, huh?
Pretty much. It's kind of like high school, maybe a little worse.
Yeah,
a little worse, but
a lot more alcohol. I would say it's like college on steroids, because back then it was a little bit more free. I mean, I could go to the base.
You say college, more of a frat party on steroids.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like college life, right?
Yeah.
So back then, as long as you had a military ID, you could go to the Class 6 and get alcohol. Back when I first came in, and they stopped that not long after I got there. But yeah, like
it was fun.
We had some times that there's a reason why I don't drink. I'll just say that.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I do, it's very small amounts. Go ahead.
What you're saying, Sarge, is like you could be under age of alcohol drinking age, and you can still get alcohol at the time.
At the time.
Yeah, because we were on post. Like, you didn't leave post with it. You were on post. So you go to Class 6, which is the liquor store on post, and you could, as long as you had your military ID, you could purchase alcohol. Okay. Back when I
now you left post, you were done.
Yeah.
So
sort of
on base, like pretty much when you're on base and all that stuff, it's completely different laws on base, right? Than what.
Yeah. So I will tell you this. Think about it like this. Let's just say if you're military law enforcement, right? Military police, you enforce not only federal law, right? Or, you know, UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, but you have state law as well. So you're like doing this big enforcement just on the post. So it's a different life, man. But even then, you really had to worry about getting caught up and getting Article 15, getting busted down, losing your rank, losing some pay, doing some extra duty and stuff like that. But I mean, it kind of I guess made you who you are.
We've seen both sides of that, where we were the ones getting in trouble, and then we were the ones enforcing that or writing people up for that.
Yeah, I mean, as an NCO, you definitely do stuff like that, and it sucks. But I mean, Croak, did you see what he put? They have beer machines.
You got beer machine?
In their barracks in Okinawa. Well, that was back, so that was definitely back. I get it. Overseas, it's a different ball game.
It's a different animal.
But wow, man, that is
different
insane.
time too, huh?
Yep. Yeah, different time, man. Like I can tell you, the first time I went out to the field, I was an 18-year-old kid, and we get done for the day training and stuff. We were cooking out and drinking beer. That's what it was. It was like a big party afterwards. You work hard, you play hard. And then, of course,
man against the masses. You see what he put? Doing pre-shift inspections, legally drunk.
Yeah, he was an MP.
Hey, I forgot. Gotta love those MPs.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. It's so funny because going back and thinking about all the things that you've gone through and all that stuff, it's hilarious. Hilarious.
Well, you don't only go through the shenanigans like you were talking about. There's times where you needed somebody to go to talk yourself out of doing something stupid. Like you know, there's the mental illness inside of it, and sometimes you just needed a battle buddy just to go cry on his shoulder, you know, because it was tough.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of buddies, and they've told me some stories. I know it. When you first join, they basically break your mentality of what your normal is. They try to
they break that civilian out of you.
Rebuild you.
So,
Sarge don't cry though. He don't cry.
Oh, whatever, bro. You trying to gas me up on my own show? Come on, man. That's funny.
I mean, the military background, you enjoyed a lot of stuff. I know there's a lot too. There's the good and the bad. We don't have to talk about the bad. Let's just keep it good. So, what's your favorite part about being LEO?
I would say that, you know, being in the military and going to Iraq and going over there, having to do what we had to do, and you know, it was horrible. But then coming back and getting into law enforcement, being able to help people, it was that transition that a lot of people like to have. Like, how can I transition back from military into civilian world? And that transition for me was law enforcement. It was easy to go from, holy crap, what did I just do, to how can I help people get through situations that I've seen personally overseas and personally in the States. How can I help them through that situation with my experience? So that right there is the thing for me, is being able to help people.
Right.
So I know that's a generic comment, but I mean, from me, that's the honest to God reason why I joined in law enforcement.
So I will tell you this. Go ahead. I'll let you say.
I feel like anybody that's been in the military or knows close people that's been in the military understand that transition a lot of times isn't easy for you guys. So
it's not. That transition was hard for me. You could ask Sarge. I was unemployed for 2 years. Couldn't find a job. Nobody would hire me. It was right during the recession in 2008, and it was bad. And then I finally got into law enforcement. It was a struggle, and I almost became the statistic of a vet on the road.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you think about transition and stuff, and I talked to the Rogue Banshee on our video that's dropping Monday, by the way. It's dropping Monday. You want to check it out for sure.
Yeah,
But
I'm definitely gonna
I
watch
talked to
that.
him about the transition piece, right? And it's kind of like when they teach you combatives, right? They teach you just enough to where you get your butt kicked in the club. That's how much they teach you. Just like transition, especially now. Just like Mark Tucker was saying, like it's true, 100%. If you transition as a wounded warrior like I did, the most terrible transition that I've ever been through. The way we were treated, the way um, they didn't care, and I mean, it's just amazing. One day I'll be able to tell that story. It may be in a book or it may be an interview or something like that, but it's disgusting how especially wounded warriors are treated. So it's tough, man. It
You know,
really is.
Sarge, you talk about the transition of wounded warriors. You know, you are one, I am one, and the the veteran system, the VA. You know, that transition from military medical to the VA.
Yeah.
It's just horrible to see that. You
So
know,
yes, and I'll say this: like you and my dad have the most problems, right? Me, the only people I fought was the army. That's it. The whole time, that's the only person or group that I fought. The VA was like, "Hey, man, you're messed up. Here you go. You're good to go." And I don't have any issues with the VA, and it's really weird. But when you go um,
one like I did.
back, yeah, you go and look back at what my dad had to struggle through, had to fight them on just to get taken care. It's insane. It's insane. And
It is
he's
insane. You know, when I
just
got out of the military, I was rated VA, so I had
yeah,
my small percentage, and then to fight them tooth and nail to get the the proper percentage for my injuries, well, it's horrific that you have to go through that. Like, you know, I'm helping people now get that percentage that's due to them. You know,
yeah.
because you know when you get out of the military, they're like, "Oh, this is your percentage." You know this, Sarge. You dealt with it at first and had to fight them on it. So it's horrible having a
Well, only
system.
one thing that I really had to fight him for but it was more or less the army. When I went through my board process, I had to appeal because they only wanted to rate my right hip and not my foot that I lost use of, right? I lost well, I mean, I can use it, but I can't feel it because all my nerves are gone due to the complications from surgeries and injuries and stuff like that. But it just, that's, that was more the army. Like the VA, I'm telling you, the VA, I have not fought with them on anything. Now I do have a battle that's going to come up as soon as my retirement paid. The army decides they're going to pay me like they're supposed to. I have to go and deal with trying to get the VA to give me my money back that they took from me because I received a check from the army and they took that out. So with the VA offset is what they call it. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because you got the
ridiculous.
retirement and everything going with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't CRDP concurrent, even though I am. I just didn't have my 20-year letter. So yeah,
You know,
it's a whole
another
mess.
aspect of it is that you have these people that get out of the military and have no idea that they can take their medical records and turn that into VA to get the care that they require, that they need. They don't know. They have no idea because they're not, like you said, they give you just enough to get out and get in trouble.
Hmm.
So they don't teach you all about all that.
Yeah, and it's hard to find the right people to look to get advice or people that have fought the system. So you really have to look inside the community. And I can tell you that a lot of what I refer people to is that Combat Craig channel. 100% move it over there, get you an attorney, and he recommends some attorneys that's what they deal with is fighting those battles for you. And that's what it takes. Sometimes you have to uh, put the fire under them just to get what you're owed. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
You know,
it's
Kurt made a comment and this is like that goes towards your parents and like my parents that have served.
Mhm.
That you got out and due to the enlistment error, they lost their medical records or they don't have any on file because they were all paper copies, and then they struggle with the VA system getting into it. So I have a buddy next door that is just in that same problem. They can't find his medical records anywhere.
Yep. And that's a shame, man. That is an absolute shame.
Yes. And then now people wonder why like people aren't joining the forces anymore. Like,
Well, I mean, besides that, like, look at what's going on. Why would you want to enlist, especially now? Like, we're in this peacetime per se because the global war on terror is pretty much done or whatever. But besides that, I mean, like, how do you have confidence in your leadership right now?
I think everybody should serve in the military. With that being said, like you just said, how do you have confidence in it? I think everybody should serve with the knowledge that there is confidence in the leadership.
But the thing is we can't be that country, and I'm going to say that we can't be that country because not everybody's fit to do that job. Not everybody. And I honestly, having been in, I would rather have dudes that want to be there next to me when we're in a foxhole or something than somebody that doesn't want to be there.
This is true.
Because that's what's going to get you killed. And 100%. Not everybody wants to go to war and stuff like that, but I mean,
I had family members trying to get me out of getting deployed. They were like, "I'll take you to Canada." So,
see, he made a good. C&T made a good point too, and that's what I had to do. I actually had to contact Congress and have a congressional done to get my benefits turned back on. I was active duty, and they shut off my TRICARE. They shut off my pay, and they're like, "Oh, it's all your fault." For 8-9 months, I needed surgeries and medical equipment and all that stuff. And why should I have to fight when you sent me overseas and then I got hurt, not due to my own fault? I mean, it's a combat injury. It says it on my DD-214. It's a combat injury, So that's why I say this could be like an all-day thing if we wanted to talk about it, but I don't.
Yeah.
I want to keep it moving if we can.
Yeah, let's try to keep it moving. So
that sucks.
Now that we know the background of Rogue Ranch, let's get to the next question. So you're a tactical guy. Other than military and LEO training, do you take other trainings?
I train with myself. I have plenty of people around here that have property. We train together. I saw another show of yours before that survival training. Of what you believe in that, and we kind of get together and we kind of do that preparedness where we act and simulate as if our life depends on it during this training. So we go out there and shoot targets and moving targets and engage targets. We do simunitions as well, so we actually get to feel the actual impact. So I do that on the side, and a lot of us instructors go out there and give insight of what I've learned, or they've learned something new from somebody else, and we kind of all get together and kind of push forward on that training. So I do take other training. We do active shooter training, and we do entry training, building entry training as well. So, which not a lot of people do building entry. They do house entry, but they don't do building entry. Like, how do you enter a school building, and in which direction do you go, and how you filter through a building like that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's amazing stuff to learn and practice. That's something I would like to get into, is like actually going into those actual classes and, building my knowledge, because I know that's not my expertise, and I want to learn from the guys. And it sounds like you have your own tribe of people that, if shit hits the fan, you guys are coming together and got
If
each
shit
other's
hits
back.
the fan, I'm making my way to Sarge. That's my buddy. I gotta go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd rather be surrounded by people that I'm fully aware of what their capabilities are and stuff, especially
Yeah.
if it's a dynamic situation where you're having to, not stay in one place. You're going to have to pick up
Mhm.
and move.
A lot of
Definitely.
times during training and stuff like that, if you don't know the person you're with, you don't know what they're gonna do, and you can't trust that they're gonna do the thing they need to do to take care of you, right?
Right.
You want to be with somebody that you know is going to take that shot or do whatever they have to do to take care of you to get you through what you need to get you through the end of the day. And sometimes
Yeah.
during these events and these uh, situations that have gone on actually in the last couple of years, you can't. Sometimes there's no communication verbally. It's all hand signs. It's all body language. It's all I know what you're going to do and I know what the next move is. So if you don't know that, you don't know that, and it's
Yeah.
hard to
I
go
mean,
into a fight with somebody that you don't know.
it makes total sense. I mean, you guys are you guys served enough time together where you guys are basically in sync. Like you can read each other's mind at this point. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
but it's not always that. A lot of it has to do with the training aspect. It's not really
Mhm.
the reading the mind. I understand where you're going with that, but
Yeah.
a lot of it is the fact that we've spent hours upon hours watching what he's doing, watching what this person's doing. So we're actually learning from each other, and we don't. Once you get to a point where everything flows and makes sense, then it's a lot easier to run with that person. But you also have to think too
The
is,
capability.
well, you have to think about this is if I go into a room and you guys are behind me, right? And you're pulling security out in the hall because it's a short room, and then all of a sudden I encounter, a target. I lay rounds on target, and then what are you guys going to do? Are you going to, lead the
What do a lot
security
of
that
people
you're
do?
pulling? They're going to look away, try to find out what I'm doing,
Exactly. They,
right?
they they always want to either funnel in to see what's going on, and they don't want to
Yeah.
do their job.
Yeah, instead of keeping that security. So that there's a lot of things that come up in those kind of situations, especially dynamic TQB situations, that there's a lot of training that you have to do to get that team up and running. And I can tell you, having done it with multiple teams and people that have been around for a long time, we still get it wrong. And it's because they're not conditioned for that setup, especially when you're talking about civilian law enforcement, because that's not their life.
No.
They're not used to having to go house to house and clear and do all this stuff with a
90%.
threat inside of a city or inside of a village or something like that. They don't have to worry about that. It's and that's what they don't train for, and that's always going to be a problem, is the lack of training, the lack of that mindset of saying, hey, we need to be able to save our own people's lives as well as deal with taking care of the community that we serve as well. Because no matter what, when a round pops off, you should be the guy that's running toward it. Period. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have military experience. If you're law enforcement, you should be running toward it.
But
And
you should have confidence in your training to be able
exactly.
to
Yep.
smartly engage
Yep.
that target.
So, you want to answer
Farmer
that
James
question?
said, "Yeah, yeah." I was just taking my time with you explaining yourself,
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
Farmer James asked what everybody's feeling on the brace rule this month. Um, from last I heard, I think they pushed it back to next month. They're gonna try to figure it out, but this whole brace rule thing, I think is just some bullshit. Like, how do you keep changing your ruling on certain aspect? Like, you're gonna say it's okay, so now millions of people have braces, and all of a sudden now, oh well, we changed our mind and we don't we consider that the actual stock or short barrel rifle. Like,
Yeah.
Guys, get
It's
like the Alphabet Boys need to get it together at this point. Like, either come up with, either go with what you said it was before, or like you guys had all these years to figure it out, and you gave us an answer, so stick with that. Like, I'm tired of dealing with these back and forth gun laws and like topics and rulings. It
They
makes,
like to do that. They like to change it to benefit or listen
yeah,
to the wrong type of people, and they just go back and forth on their ruling.
it's total bullshit, and we could
yeah,
talk
but
about that
here's
all
my
day.
right, and here's my thoughts on it. Okay, as a guy on the ground, why do I want to enforce that? What am I going to
Yeah,
do? Lock myself up? All right, here I go. I'm going to turn myself in because I have a
yeah.
brace. I mean, come on. Of
It's in
all the
common
things
use.
that you could do, there. Why are we making new rules and then trying to turn it into a law? No, look. Why don't you stop messing around and enforce the laws that are on the books?
There you go.
Enforce the laws that are on the books and stop playing around with trying to figure out how to jam up people.
Mm.
That's not how you do that.
It
No,
really is. I mean,
you know, a lot
they're
of these
trying to
people that
make.
make a lot of the people that make the laws and make the rules and stuff like that, I want them to sit through my training, and then you can make a law, and you tell me how it's going to work out. So
Most of the people that make these laws don't even know what the hell they're talking about in the first place, and they're trying to push this stuff on the Alphabet Boys, of course. But like, really, let's just get rid of the Alphabet Boys altogether, and then you have more freedom, because it's just it makes things more confusing. Like, you guys were put in this situation, like in this place, to come up with the categories of descriptions, of definition of what a firearm is and what it's not. It's not their place to make new laws. Like, it's just to enforce it, like to define it and
Sarge
enforce
said
it.
it plain and simple.
Yeah,
Let's enforce the rules on the book.
yeah.
I mean,
So
you
Yeah.
can't. People go down there all the day and they're like, "Oh, there should be a law. There should be a law. There should be a law." I'm like, "There's already a law for that." Well, it should be this, and you're like, "Why?" So I don't get it.
I have a simple phrase for that, and we're all adults. Hopefully, there's no kids watching, but simply put, fuck your feelings. So, like,
It is what it
feelings
is.
don't get you. Feelings don't mean anything. It's just, what is the law, what's right and what's wrong. Like, it's there, it's not. If you like it, good for you. If you don't, too bad. But
Hey,
stop
Panda,
trying to go back and forth.
your parents raised you and taught you right from wrong, right?
Of course.
So what's the problem with all these other people? They don't know what right and wrong is.
I feel like today's generation, the newer generation, is the issue. Like, I
But is
feel
that a
like
parental thing or a generational thing?
maybe it's a little bit of both. You know, our parents do their best to teach us right from wrong, and then at a certain age, we try to make our own decisions. And of course, the people that we hang around also influence us in a certain way. So I always heard, like, you are who you surround yourself with, and if you have a lot of people that think a certain way because they're brainwashed to think a certain way, you're gonna start thinking the same way as well. And it goes
Absolutely.
both ways.
It goes both ways.
But
Farmer James said something. Not everybody had good parents. I agree. I didn't have good parents. Sarge knows that. I mean,
yeah,
my parents are crap. My parents, abusive, put you out on the streets, didn't care, barely fed. I was eating dog food as a kid because they didn't have food in the house other than dog food. I mean,
mm,
I get it. I get it. But once you grow up, you know what right and wrong is.
yeah.
You know how to discern what the difference between right and wrong is. So
I I I feel like with the younger generation today, they're more concerned about fitting in, whether it's right or wrong. I feel like that's the main issue. Like, what's the hot topic today? All right, this is it. I want to do what they're saying to do. There's no free thought anymore. Like nobody's in the like. There's no individual thought anymore. Everybody just wants to go with what what the group says.
I hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
People got too many feelings.
We got any more
Yeah,
questions?
I'm far behind.
Yeah, we got a lot going on, man.
Everyone had good parents. I saw that. All right. Well, I guess that answered that. Sorry, guys. So let's go to the next question. I think if there's people that don't have questions, I'll go to your next question, and that is,
Good.
if you could train with anyone, who would that be? Like any, I know you said that you train with your own group of guys, but if you could train with the number one person in your mind, like the person that you want to really train with, well known, who would that be?
I know we were talking earlier, and I said I'd train with Sarge, but you know,
I think everybody wants to train with me, but they don't know yet that I'm
I mean,
a little angry behind this mask when we get on the range.
But Sarge, I know Sarge. That's why I said I would like to train with him, just because I know him. But I do have a buddy that's he's a Navy SEAL, and former Navy SEAL, and he's diehard, survival training. Let's train like we're gonna die, and that's the type of person I want to train with. Someone that's gonna go into the fight real and train as if it's real. So, I'm not gonna mention his name or anything, but that's who I would want to train with.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not a bad.
Yep.
Bad
Maybe
choice.
not as old as I am. I probably don't want to go train with him now because I get broke. But
Chuck
he'd probably break me down.
Look at this. Look at the support, right? And then we got this.
Chuck Norris. hey, Sarge.
What's
the
up?
porta potties in Iraq. What was always on there?
Yeah.
Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was always on the porta potties.
Well, besides some other stuff, yeah, we had a little Chuck Norris in there. Don't ask me why. I don't know how it made sense or where it came from. It didn't matter. It was 100 and something degrees, and you didn't want to be in that porta potty because it was about 40 or 50 degrees hotter than what it was outside.
Oh, yeah. There was some
I try not to. Yeah, I know that. So I don't. My type of work.
Panda, put it in your head of what it would be like to sit in a porta potty at 160 degrees.
I'd rather drive.
Yeah, for a week.
I'd rather drive a couple miles down the road and almost shit myself than use a porta potty in that kind of weather. Or just go in the woods. I don't know. Like nobody wants to use a porta potty. Like, ugh. Because if you're the construction kind of work, I know, and it sucks. Like if I'm in a construction field, so that's all we got a lot of times. Shit, sometimes we don't even have that, but I'd rather not use a porta potty.
Yeah.
I find the next nearest tree.
Yeah,
I'd rather do that, to be honest.
So if I could lend anything, is just remember, you got to take training with certain people. You really got to vet your trainer in some aspect, right? But a lot of these people that are putting legit stuff like Loudon Tactical, Warrior Pro, who doesn't want to train with some pros in the industry? It's always awesome, right? And I've had the benefit of doing, being on a SWAT team and training with some of these guys, and then some of the stuff that I did in the military as well with some of these guys that are out there training now. But it's you really got to think about who you're getting training from, because a lot of people, and I said this before, like to give out really bad advice or training tips and stuff like that based on what they heard on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Um, not not everybody's the right fit. So
We got
I
a
like to say, go ahead.
we got a couple of places around here that as a firearms
Oh
instructor,
man,
we go and look at these places, and these people have no idea what they're doing. They're training civilians the wrong way. So you do got to
yeah,
mentor your instructor.
and I
Mhm.
mean it's tough because the hardest part is you got guys that are coming out of the military or coming out of the law enforcement arena, and just because they were trained, they think that now they're trainers,
They're not.
and they may have been trained in the wrong way of doing things. And I had that a lot. A lot of the time that I would do training, I would be very frustrated because I'm giving them actual recommendations on changing outdated tactics. I
Yeah.
mean, the way we did stuff, especially on a SWAT team, like you should be getting all the newness, right? New equipment, new training, all the stuff that's coming out that's going to test your team tactics, it's going to test your equipment and things like that, right? But not a lot of people think that way. They're like, well, we did this back in the 90s and it worked, so let's
And
just continue doing it. Well, the dynamic of gunfights, the dynamic of even the way houses are built today and having to clear rooms, everything turns out different every time you step into a new structure or anything like that. So it's really hard to get anything like locked down as far as training. So that's why I
yeah,
say vet your people and
I
do what's
started
best
a
for you.
I started a training program based off of new tactics, like you were talking about, and actually got in trouble with my agency for doing it. And then 7 years
Mhm.
later, they're using it. It's already old. We got to
Yeah,
start a new one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that, and that right there is the problem with law enforcement. They're either behind the curve,
Well, yeah. I mean,
or
look,
they're financially not able to do it,
yeah,
or they have crappy instructors that actually don't train themselves,
right.
that are still training on old tactics or
Yep.
giving bad advice,
Well,
or not willing to
here's the
learn
thing.
themselves.
Here's the thing too. Earlier today on my drive back from the job site, I had a long drive today. So I was actually listening to my buddy, the Tactical Rabbis, live from last night, and they got into this topic as well because he's a trainer, but he was saying that just because somebody is former law enforcement or military, he brought up a good point. They may know what they need to know, but that doesn't mean that they can also teach it. Not
Yeah.
everybody is a teacher.
Yep.
So he brought
It
up a
No,
takes a
I
good
mean,
very
point about that.
I
it
agree. I
takes a
said
very
that.
special person to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not even that. You got to be able to reach people and translate it to them, and be
Mhm.
patient enough to work with people that this may be their first time in these kind of situations, whether
Well,
it's
you
carrying a
gotta.
firearm or anything like that.
You're an instructor, right, Sarge?
I was an instructor,
Okay,
yes,
so you
but
know this. I'm an instructor, and everybody learns differently. And if
yeah,
you
Mhm.
don't understand that different technique that they need to learn, you're never going to reach them. You could sit there and scream at them until you're blue in the face. You'll never reach them because they need to learn this way, but you're trying to teach them this way.
yeah,
They'll never
Mhm.
learn. So, as an instructor, you need to be good enough to see that, what their learning technique is. How do they learn best?
yeah,
And what do they already know, and what do they need to know, and what bad habits do you need to get rid of?
yeah,
Yeah. Easy
yep.
EDP ask, what's the scoop on the Dawson sites? Lots of people like them. I haven't heard of Dawson yet.
Dawson
Is that
Precision. They've been around for a bit.
have they?
Yeah, I don't run them because I'm pretty much set. If I'm not running combat
Mhm.
sites or single front, I don't I don't run anything else. But like Dawson are yeah, they're like more target, like fine, on some Gucci 1911 or something like that. But like, I'm not seeing a bunch of people running them on Glocks that I know of. So I think it really depends on what you like. I'm not a big fiber optic guy, so I don't mess with them, if that makes sense.
I'm
I'd
straight
rather
iron
have,
sights. I don't
yeah.
like all that other. I call
Well,
it.
no, they're iron sights, but it's a fiber optic.
Yeah.
They're precision sights is what they try to,
Yeah.
play them off as, I guess. But it's not my thing. Easy. If you like, if everybody likes them and you want to try them out, man. That's how I
Yeah.
learned a lot about all the different things that I like, is actually trying it. Straight eights are my favorite
You know
because it's
what?
easy. Make a snowman. Dot dot.
What
Dot
might
dot.
work for
There you
Sarge
go.
might not work for you though. What might work for me might not work for Sarge. You
Yeah.
just got to try.
Yeah.
And yeah, not everybody's eyesight is the same either. So,
Yep.
like
See,
Rogue Ranch just
Freakistang's
said.
on it. Freakistang knows.
So there you
What's up
go.
next there?
Fiber optic rods break during normal carry. I've heard that about fiber optic rods. I mean, they're great for target, like target guns, range. What is it? Running gun. But I have heard that they break a lot, and that's why a lot of these companies typically send you like replacement rods as well. Shogun said when teaching.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. When
That's
teaching, I've
a good
always
one.
said the goal is to merge inner being, personality, and system you're training. Yeah.
What I get out of that right there is that you got to actually enjoy what you're doing. You can't just I'm doing it for the money. You gotta have your heart in it to be able to be a good instructor. And sometimes I'm not a good instructor. Sometimes I want to hit somebody over the head. So
Yeah, I mean, people can see that too. Like you could be on top of your game when it comes to the knowledge aspect of everything. You can get into the technical part of everything, but people read your body language and the way you express what you feel. And if they don't see that passion in you, even though you have all the knowledge that they need to hear, they're not gonna really take it seriously. They're gonna kind of like brush it off because they're like, all right, well, this guy's just book smart about it, but he's not passionate about it.
got to be passionate.
Yeah.
Yep. Shogun agreed with that. So, we got any other question? I want to make sure we get it because I don't want to run out of time. We got Ralph's show that we want to catch as well.
Yeah, we do. What time is it right now? 9:23. Okay. We have I like this
we're good.
episode, man.
Yeah,
we're
this
good.
is good. It kind of gives people a little bit of a break from talking to people that own companies or the big YouTubers
Yeah.
and just talking to the normal Joes, I guess. It's kind of like
Oh,
a
yeah.
hangout with the normal guys. Yes,
It
I'm
really
normal.
is.
Please.
I don't know about that.
Come on, man.
I'm not normal, and we're friends, so that makes you not normal.
Hold on. What was that last question? Pop it up.
Oh, I lost it. Is that with Jose Romero? Shoot, I did not see what the last question was.
All right. So this one says, what do you do to keep mentally at peace with how we've come to be now, all about survival tactics and how we've come to this new society in the U.S.? I mean, back then, this wasn't a priority.
It
So
is a
that
priority now. You gotta. I mean, it's the mental fortitude that you have to commit to it and adapt and overcome what you're actually going into. And if you're not able to adapt as a person in your own training to society, then like the law enforcement aspect of it, they're teaching old tactics, and if what society is doing now, it needs to be a priority. And the mental peace of mind is that I engage what's going on now into my training. That way, people are prepared for now, not 20 years ago. So
yeah, but I think it also has to encompass the past too, because I think the past is important because you need to be able to have a reference.
the
You always want
past
to
is a
have a
learning
reference.
lesson, it's a foundation. You build off of it. You don't throw it away. You build off of it. But if you stay
Yeah.
on that foundation with where we're at now at the
Yeah,
20-story building,
you have to change it. And
you got to change.
but the thing that I do to keep it peace, you have to honestly, you got to look in yourself and say, what am I lacking here? Let's just be honest, right?
Absolutely.
If you want to be straight with everything, I mean, am I worried about the future? Always. You know what I'm saying? Who isn't? As a parent, I'm worried. How are my kids going to grow up? How, I want them to have a better life than me and things like that. But you have to understand that if you take your family's safety and everything seriously, you need to train. And that's how you keep it
Training is
peace.
important.
Confidence in your training, confidence in your KSAs, which is your knowledge, skills, and abilities. All those things are important to keep what I like to call, and this is what I explained to somebody when I was going through my medical stuff. Like, what's the reason why I have nightmares? I have nightmares of, either being in combat or either being out on patrol and I get ambushed and my gun doesn't work, or, I'm fighting somebody and no matter how hard I hit them, I feel like I'm throwing everything at them and I can't defeat it. And the reason why is because I haven't trained. I've got like a puppy, and I'll say, inside of my brain that needs to be taken care of, and you have to attend to it. And how I do that is I train, whether that's laser dry firing, whether that's going to the range, popping some 22 just to get something out there, or shooting a 9 mil afterwards, like full bore movement, all that stuff. That's how you keep yourself mentally at peace. You got to stay ready.
When I go and I feel like you're saying, like I feel like I'm lacking something, I go to my master instructor that we have. I love the guy, prior military, and now he's in law enforcement, and that's all he does is training. And he's right there with me, and I go to him and I say, hey, this is what I need help with. Let's work on it. And we just work on it. And not only does it help me, it helps the people that I'm training, because now I'm going to say, I learned something. Let's see if they can learn that, because we can move forward. Maybe they're lacking that. And we don't push everything on everybody all at once. It's a slow, long, arduous process that you have to go through to train.
Yeah.
To build your confidence.
Yeah. And that's the key. It's exactly what it is. It's you have to be comfortable and confident in your skills and abilities. You just have to be. And that's the only way to keep yourself straight. Make sure that you're taking care of everything at the house and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. You got to find time to take care of yourself. And how you do that is, training and, making sure that your basic needs are being met. That's where it comes down to having some peace of mind.
Oh yeah. I think, you also got to have confidence in your equipment, because, you could be running down the street with your single over shoulder sling, and it pops on you because you bought the $5 Walmart brand. You got to have confidence in your equipment that it's going to go out there and produce what you want it to produce.
Well, how do you get confidence in your equipment?
You try
train.
You go out and train.
You train. You put it through the stressful stuff. That's why if you see my equipment, it's set up exactly how I've used it for the last few years. It's made so many changes and variations between pouch placement or different pouch because I didn't like it or whatever. So you've got to test it. It's just like you've got to test yourself.
I got guns in my car that are mounted in what some people say is a weird way. but I've trained and put them in that position, and I can get them in and out of my car swiftly, efficiently, a lot quicker than the standard setup that most law enforcement cars have. You can't get them out of the rack that's like right here, and you're gonna like bring it over.
Right.
You know, you got to set up your equipment where you're confident. Like if something goes down at a school, you know, and you have many of them where I'm at, and we're always getting put in lockdowns for some reason. But I'm able to, on my way there, just pull straight out and drop my stuff, and I'm out the door. I'm not, you know, seconds are important when it comes to saving lives. And if you're not confident in your equipment, your setup, and everything like that, you're taking those precious seconds away from either yourself surviving or somebody else surviving.
Which kind of goes into this next question. Shadowman Cam asked, he just said, just got my BRN 180. Nice choice, by the way, today. What should I add to it other than a light and a sling and an optic? Honestly, I mean,
as an instructor, I would tell you to use it the way you're using it now before you start adding everything to it. Learn it first.
Yeah.
And then add stuff to it.
I'm pretty.
Also,
go ahead.
What purpose are you going to build out for? That's I think number one question. What is the purpose of it? Is it the 10.5? Is it the 16? Is it the 18-inch? Is it going to be a backpack gun if it's the 10.5? Is it going to be, you know, a bag, you know, rifle bag gun, truck gun with a 16-inch? What is the purpose of it first? Then build around the purpose. And what would you what would you say, Sarge?
I mean, I'm going to say the same thing, obviously. Like, if you look at my rifle's set up to run suppressor and run nods, right? Because that's my skill set, right? Can I clear buildings with that, even though it's got a, you know, really long suppressor on it now and it's well over 16? Yeah, of course. I mean, I used to clear buildings in Iraq my first tour with a 20-inch M16A2 with the aim point mounted to the charging handle because it was a fixed charging handle, you know? So for me, it's all about purpose. You know that, and you covered that. I wouldn't put anything that you don't need to use it for.
So he said 10.5-inch truck gun, bag gun. So
don't add too much to it.
No, the more you add to it, the harder it is going to be able to do what you need it to do.
Well, besides that, you got to think about it like this: if he's throwing in a bag, the more silly stuff, the more silly stuff you throw on there is the more snag points that you have, and the more that it's going to weigh. Because if you've ever had to hold somebody up with a rifle for a long time, I don't care what anybody says, they're not that heavy, right? But when you're holding it up there for an extended period of time,
it's 100 pounds.
It's going to wear you out. Yeah, it's going to wear you smooth out. And if you don't believe me, go do some rifle PT.
There you go.
And if you need some help with that, we can do a video call, and I will help you get that accomplished.
I would say stick to the basics. Just keep it as light as possible. Keep it as slick as possible. That way it doesn't catch on the bag. I would say train with it first before you start adding everything to it. And if you want to add something to it, see how it works with the bag. You might like it. I don't know. But, you know, everyone has their own opinion on what they like. And, you know, you just have to make sure that those precious seconds aren't being impeded by stuff you're adding for no reason.
I agree with that 100%. Like you, when you look at my stuff, it's no nonsense. Like how I had my SWAT rifle set up to how I carry my own personal weapon, or how I carry a CQB gun versus, you know, a mid-range fighting rifle. There's so many differences, but you don't see a lot of nonsense on there. You're not going to see me hanging like keychains and stuff like that, like we're in Call of Duty on it. You know, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to stick stickers on there and that say, you know, I like night stuff or something. I don't know, you know. So you're not going to see that, and that's what I say. sometimes you got to remember that less is more.
Freaking Sting ask, are you guys red dot and magnifiers or LPVO guys?
It all depends on the situation you're going into. For me, I mean, I have red dot on one of my rifles, and I like it. I wouldn't say an LPVO would be adequate for what I need to do it to use. So it all depends on what situation you think you're going to be going into or what you're comfortable with. Some people might be comfortable with the LPVO.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm a close quarters guy. That's my zone. But have I used a red dot and a magnifier? Yeah. I mean, I ran EOTech. What was it? EXPS 3.4 is what I ran with a G33 flip to the side. I wasn't a fan
At
of it.
what range
I
did
didn't
you
like
have
it.
it zeroed at?
I'm punching out 100 just on the red.
And that's I have the red dot set up at 150,
Yeah.
but
No,
my close
I'm
quarter
running
rifle
100.
there ain't nothing on it.
Yeah. But I mean, if
Bare
I
bones.
run it on deployment, obviously I'm running 300 on the red because that's standard, right?
On
You
deployment.
have to,
We're talking about
yeah.
civilian here.
But civilian, mine's 100 yard zero. That's where I stay. But honestly, do you need it? That would be the question. Do you need something of that capability? And if you do you want something dedicated? Because I get it. I get the ease of being able to flip a magnifier over and able to use that red dot, but you could, do an offset red dot with the LPVO if you really needed that fast acquisition. You just flip it
I
and
feel
go.
like again, it's purpose. What's
Yeah.
that build's purpose at the end of the
Yeah.
day?
I mean, but in his question,
Right.
personally,
He's
I
asking
haven't
for,
run an LPVO. I want to, so that way I can say, okay, yeah, I prefer this over this, and be able to give that input. But I can't. Like, I know what a red dot with a magnifier is like, and I'm
Sarge,
honestly, I'm not a
you
fan.
brought up a good point, Sarge. That what do you need it for? A lot of people like to hook up their rigs for no reason other than it to be like, hey, look at this. Look what I got. You're set up with $10,000 worth of Gucci equipment on your rifle, and what's the purpose?
Yeah.
You got to answer that question. What do you need this for? Is this going to work for me? Is it going to do what I need it to do? That's the real. A lot of people come to the range and stuff like that, and they got all kinds of crap on their rifle, and I'm like, all right, you now have to qualify on every piece of equipment you have added on there individually, and they can't do it because they've never done it. They just got it added on there because it looks cool.
Yeah. I know we're past the hour mark. We're almost at hour 10. I did have one more question, which I kind of feel like we did accidentally kind of go into already, but I'll just put it out there. What training advice would you give to people?
Yeah.
Well,
Hold on, let me tell Bourbon something real quick. Hey, Bourbon, I'm wearing a Bourbon Operator hoodie underneath this, just so you know. I'm wearing your hoodie. And thank you, Adam, for coming, man. It's good to see you in the chat.
Oh, Bourbon's in the house.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bourbon. Let me know if you ever got that package or not. But sorry about that.
I've never got a package. Did you get a package?
No, I didn't get a package.
Oh man.
Damn.
All right, so go ahead.
Training advice. I think we already answered that a lot.
Yeah.
It is the advice that I would give you is train how you're gonna fight. That's a given. Don't go in there and go 10%. You should be training at 100%. Now, eventually, you will be starting off slow and then working your way up to that, the confidence you need. But train how you're going to fight. You can't go in there all, just nilly-willy and just, half-ass it. You can't do that. You got to, if you're clearing buildings, you got to go in there like you're going to train. So train how you're going to fight. have confidence in yourself, have confidence in your equipment. First and foremost, your equipment is what's going to get you through the situation you're in. So make sure you go to Sarge and get your stuff done.
No, come on. No, I mean there's plenty of trainers out there that do offer some good stuff, and mine is always, if you're unsure about something, if somebody tells you something, especially when it comes to training, go look it up, go do some research. I know it's kind of silly, but you should really look at what they're saying, because sometimes they're just giving you something that they heard from somebody else with nothing behind it, right? That's why I always preach purpose. Like, if you're going to come to me and be like, oh, well, I'm thinking about this, and I'll be like, why? Tell me why. What do you need that for? Why do you need nods? I mean, they're cool, but are you going to be out there doing goon stuff? I mean, if you are, maybe you need some nods. But what's the first thing you got to do? Get training. Just like a firearm, get training. First and foremost, learn how to use it. Learn how to be safe with it. Get comfortable with it. Get confident with it. Shoot it. All these different things that you need to just do.
A lot of, and to go more elaborate, I know we're out of time. We went over, but when you're training, and everybody trains how to shoot, right? But what they don't train is, what if something happens to your strong arm? Do you train? A lot of people don't train the weak side.
Yeah.
A lot of people
but I
don't
mean, let's put it in perspective of, we do what we do for a reason, right? We train
Right.
strong arm, support, strong hand, support hand, those kind of things. I don't like to call it weak. It just, to me, it's not a weakness, and I don't want people to think of it like that. I would rather you understand it from the context of that, right? But you have to remember that what we do compared to just somebody that's going to be going to the grocery store with their family, there is two different training things, and they need to have that baseline before they step into that advance. Like, that's what I'm preaching, is go get the basics, go get the baseline before you start saying, all right,
foundation.
yeah, I want to go and do CQB courses and explosive breaching and things like you won't probably be able to get to do, but some courses you can do. Yeah.
So start off with the fundamentals first.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it becomes muscle memory after a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we're past the time. Is there anything that you guys want to mention before we end the live? I mean, do you guys want to keep on a little bit longer? It's up to you guys.
No, I mean,
we can go down another rabbit hole if you want.
Really?
Sarge don't want to.
No, I mean, I'm kind of looking at the comment, and Freakistan brought this up, right? It's great advice, yes, but you got to understand too, Freakistan, is that some people, especially new people, are just not ready for that. Do I think they should do it? Yes, I agree with my buddy on that, 100%. You should always train to have those kind of things happen. You should always train to be around things. So transitional spaces are a big thing, right? Gas stations. Do you know how to fight around a car if you get into a gunfight? Do you know where the safest spots to be are around a car? Which, honestly, depending on what they have, you're just kind of screwed. But things like that, like, those are the things. Yeah, those are the things that when you're there and you're ready for that, go get it. 100% run after it and go get it, because I did a lot of fun training. Urban Gunfighter was a great one for me. We were doing asymmetrical warfighter stuff. That was awesome. That taught me how to do a lot of things, fighting around cars and, VIPs and, getting them out of the line of fire, just protective stuff, just all this stuff that I went through training wise just taught me a lot of different things. So it was really cool. And I recommend that you just start at the basics first. And
I
then,
recommend that not only what Sarge said, start at the basics. I would say start at the basics with the ambition of going to advance. Don't just take the basics and be like, I'm good. You know, always have that ambition to go higher and get more training and continue to train. You know, so, and you know what? You might have an instructor that's great at teaching basics, but sucks at teaching advanced. So you have to do your shopping.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is to just remember what scenarios you're going to run into. You should know your house inside and out, right? If somebody kicks in your door, you should know your house. You should know where your kids are. You should know all this stuff. So you have to think about the things that you're going to encounter every day. So,
where's your stronghold at? You know, that's a good question. How many times have you gone around your house, Sarge or Panda, and done a tactical walk around?
Yeah, I don't even do that. I straight up will clear my house.
Yeah,
I will grab my rifle, throw my pistol on, and just go to town.
Straight at it.
Go to town, figuring out angles, because I've got a staircase that goes like this, and it's all open. So how am I going to clear it when there's a half wall up here? You know what I'm saying? So
very carefully.
What most people don't realize is you have an advantage inside your home because you know every little corner, even in the dark. Like at least you should know every little corner.
You should know. Not everybody does. I've been in situations with homeowners that couldn't tell you where the light switch is when the lights are out. Yeah. So you should know.
So let me answer this real quick for Marconi. The bread was my favorite over there.
Oh yeah,
all the time. Like I've had camel too, believe it or not, and it's not terrible. It's
their bread is amazing, and their cheese, their goat cheese.
Yeah, but bread hands down. I would just buy bags of that stuff, and I'd throw it in plastic bags and seal it up and stuff. And I would carry that throughout the mission, kind of hand it out to my guys and stuff like that. So,
was it pita bread over there, or was it a different kind of bread?
No.
Like falafel's good, and that's what they use that bread. It's just some, I don't know what exactly. I can't even remember what they call it. It's been so
good.
long.
That's all that matters.
And I guarantee you they were nasty and didn't wash their hands and all kinds of crazy stuff. But
if we knew how they made it and we knew it was in it, we probably wouldn't eat
it. Did you see them making it like, was it the underground like oven type thing?
Not like all the time. Sometimes it was one of those.
No, it was open.
It was like a pizza oven sometimes.
Yeah, it was open type stuff.
That would be nice. Get some fresh bread. Let's see. Any other questions?
No, I'm not seeing it. And of course, Caleb's got to bring in the medical training. That's always a must. You should know basic at least. How do you put on a tourniquet?
I think every good firearms instructor should have medical background.
Well, at least if they're not TTwP certified, then they need to at least have some kind of casualty care.
Something.
Stop the bleed. Stop the bleed's an easy class.
That's an easy class. So I teach firearms, but I also teach CPR, first aid, and immediate combat wound treatment. So carrying tampons for gunshot wounds, just sucking chest wound pads, how to apply them, how to put a tourniquet on yourself. So
yeah.
Those are all the good things to have in your bag.
So Panda was saying that he just took a class, and I remember we talked about that. It was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I had just recently, maybe like
there we go.
month and a half, 2 months ago. It was November. It was in November. I took a Stop the Bleed course, and I enjoyed it, and I got lucky because it was supposed to be me and another guy for that day, and I just happened to be the only student that showed up.
Yeah.
And I had one-on-one, like personal, like just talking and getting to ask every type of question, and the guy was able to tell me everything I need to know. And I felt a lot more comfortable after taking that course. Just stop the
Mm-hmm.
bleed. I mean, I've seen videos and all that kind of stuff, but it's different in person as well.
Yeah.
Everything's different in person.
Yeah, and
You know, you mentioned something good too, asking questions. If you don't ask, you won't know.
Yeah.
never
So
never be embarrassed to ask a question. There's no stupid question. If you think that your question is dumb, ask it anyway, because somebody else in the class or they might be thinking it too, but they don't. They're embarrassed to ask. But never be embarrassed to ask a question. That's how you learn.
I was always that guy that raised my hand at the end of class that everybody hated.
Yeah.
That was me. So
Right. But you know what? By you doing that, you probably help somebody else answer their question. They probably was thinking the same thing, and they just
I'll
didn't.
never
They were
know because
afraid to speak
everybody wants
up.
to go home, and I'm like, hold on, I got one more question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mark Tucker, communication and movement. Yeah.
Yeah. What we were talking about.
Yep.
There you go, Rod.
No dumb
Right
question
there.
when you don't ask. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We tell people that on the range all the time. If you got a question or if you're uncertain about something, don't go do something that's going to hurt you. Ask.
Yeah. Don't be embarrassed. I mean, and I know a lot of times we put our pride before, but don't. Like, I used to be one of those guys that was quiet, and I would just keep it to myself, and I wouldn't even ask the question. But then over time, as I grew up, I'm talking about as a kid, I was like that. But as time I grew up, I was more confident about asking questions. I was like, that's how I'm gonna learn. I mean, but a lot of guys and women are afraid to ask a question, which you should not be afraid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, there's been many a time that somebody wanted to ask that question, but they just didn't want to do it
Yeah.
and feel like an idiot. And then you ask the question, and there's several people that were thinking that. Come to find out,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, sometimes I won't tell you.
But
They'll wait until after and be like,
yeah.
thanks for asking that question because I didn't want to.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I've
Yeah.
had that happen to me.
I also like that one-on-one training with somebody when I'm teaching them. Like we just did one class where there was 4 instructors out there for one student, and it was awesome because we got to teach them some cool stuff. Each one of us had something new to teach them, and they left and they're just like, appreciative that they got that one-on-one training that nobody else is going to get with 4 instructors. So, and teaching them new techniques and clearing and just how to fire and move around a target and stay alive. That's how I see it. Every time you go to the range to train, you're this close to dying.
Yeah. Let's see. My pop said I asked too many questions. I
believe that easy. I believe that.
My dad told me the same thing, but hey, a good trainer, a good instructor will take the time and answer your question. If somebody tells you that you're asking too many questions, either you're asking some. All right, not every question is not a dumb question. Sometimes don't be a smart ass with your questions. If you got questions, let them be true, like actual questions. Don't try
There's
to
a
be the
difference
funny.
between an ignorant question and a true question.
Yeah, like don't waste people's times because you want to crack a joke or be the funny guy in class or something. Take the time serious.
Being in law enforcement and training police officers, a lot of the things that we run into are, when are we going to lunch? And they're not willing to train.
Yeah.
Because I think they understand it and they got it. And I don't know if we hit on this subject, but the lack of training in law enforcement is just it's just weird how the concept of when we go into lunch is the next question.
It's the same in anything. I mean, I
Yeah.
encountered that. Um, I was the mount instructor. I taught military operations urban terrain for a long time, and I would deal with the same thing with Joe. Joe's like, "Ah, bro, I gotta eat." Well, uh, this thing right here is going to save your life because you're getting ready to deploy, and you might have to use this. So grab
You
you
used
something.
your training, Sarge, and it worked for you. It got you home at night. I've run into situations myself where my training and my consistency in my training saved my life.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam.
That is
Adam
very
definitely.
true.
Adam definitely said it,
The
but he
hardest
knows.
guys to train would be the most experienced.
He's definitely in the know on that.
If you're not willing to learn new things, you're the hardest person to train is one that knows what they're doing, supposedly.
All right, I don't want to keep this going too long, but I want to give you some time to close it out, and we'll go from there.
Cool. I mean, I think we already talked about everything.
Guys, we hit it. I just don't want to beat a dead horse,
No, I hear you.
Rabbit
So,
holes.
guys, thanks for watching, everybody. Rogue Ranch, thank you for being our guest tonight. We had a great time just talking about all types of things here. Was the best door breacher? Did you want to answer that, Sarge? Or
I mean, I've run Mossberg 500s that were, just the grip and short barrel with a breaching tip. I've run the shotguns that the Army has that have the turning breaching tip. You can pop up there and it's like a little slingshot that helps with that force. So when you push down, you jam it on there. I mean, there's so many things out there. A shotgun to me is
rounds too.
Yeah, a shotgun to me is a shotgun. To me, it doesn't matter as long as it does the job and it's set up for that job. That's how I look at it. Would I care to use one? I'm not going to use a breach round if I have to engage a target or a breaching shotgun, should I say? But definitely, I mean, I'm used to the old Mossberg 500s, and I can't even remember what the M nomenclature. I said it once on DOD After Dark. I think his interview, but yeah, definitely. M4 with spike muscle.
So let's see, guys. Our next show will be on the 20th, again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That'll be episode 8. So stay tuned. And again, Rogue Ranch, thank you for being our guest tonight. Like, I truly enjoyed this show. Yeah. Between you and Sarge, and I learned a lot, and we just a no pressure type of show, to be honest.
Yeah.
Guys, to the viewers, if you really want to help out this channel, you know how we do it. Like, we like to always give back to our community, especially with Sarge. Like, Sarge is very generous. So if you want to help support the channel so we could do some more giveaways in the future and stuff like that, down in the banner, we have a Cash App, or what I would really prefer is if you go to my Teesprings account, if you want to buy some merch, feel free to. That money is going to go back to the channel. It's going to go back to you guys. That's what I want to do for this new year. So if you want to support, feel free to.
Nope, I agree.
Yep.
Sarge, is there
I
anything
agree.
you want to mention before we head out?
No, I just want to say thank you guys again. I know it's a new year. We changed our time and everything. So it's really awesome to see you guys coming back to support us, and especially, allowing people like my buddy to come on, and you guys accepting him and giving him that ear so he can say what he needs to say as well. I mean, obviously me and him, we go way back, and it doesn't matter as far as that, but it's the fact that you guys are just awesome, and you're giving him a space to be able to talk and share his knowledge, and that's important to me. So I appreciate you, and I'm definitely happy to see you guys. I mean, if you can't tell, I'm smiling, well, sorry, bad. I know, I get it. But don't forget that everything that you do is in your space, like your AO, right? It's your area of operations. So make sure that you're confident with what you're doing. Make sure you're training, making sure that you can protect yourself, your family, whatever that is. But besides that, like, don't be afraid to like lift somebody else up. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Is what we do and what our sphere of influence is what matters. So you guys helping us out, showing up here, and sorry, I read a funny comment, but you guys showing up here and supporting us really means a lot to us. And we hope to bring you some more stuff. We got some more news coming up, some big changes, and some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm
Stay
excited for
tuned
this
for
new
that.
year. Yeah, I'm excited for this new year. Thank you, Panda, for letting me be here and be a co-host on this show. I've really enjoyed it, and I continue to enjoy it every time we do it.
Of course,
And
man.
good.
I truly appreciate your friendship and
Yeah.
the willingness to be on this show every
Yeah.
other week with me. And
No, it's fun. I enjoy it.
It's a friendship you don't want to let go.
Yeah, well, I mean,
exactly, man.
I got you, and I've known you forever, so that definitely ain't going away. And I'm glad that I can lean on you. So thank you for being here too, because you are
I
taking
want to thank
time.
Sarge and Panda for letting me on and just giving me the opportunity to help out, and thank the viewers for being awesome today.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. So
that
on
being
that,
said, have a great evening, everybody, and see you on the next show on the 20th.
Yep. We'll see you on the 20th, same time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Take care, everybody.